Welcome back. The rising body count of Indigenous children as the investigation into residential schools continues has shed light on the treatment of all children under professional care. Rebecca Raby from Brock's Child and Youth Studies Department joins us. Rebecca, it's all about inequality and justice in your committee's eyes.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that it's really important to listen to Indigenous people right now and to learn about their experiences. And in the Department of Child and Youth Studies, we work with students and try to, prepare them for future professions in things like social work and education. And these are two disciplines that are really implicated in this history and also ongoing injustices towards Indigenous people in Canada. And so we have a committee. It's a committee committed to reconciliation, decolonization, and indigenization. And we decided that it was really important at this time to make a statement about how not only child and youth studies, but other kinds of similar entities that are training students for future work have a responsibility to really learn about the history, to teach about the history, to recognize ongoing issues right now, and to think about how to better work with Indigenous communities and families and children.
What I'm hearing from a lot of Indigenous friends is that we've been telling you this all along, that this has happened and no one listened. And really it's about education, and this has not been in the curriculum here in Ontario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a travesty that people haven't been learning about it. And even if we just go back to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and its recommendations, this was produced in 2015, and there's a whole ton of recommendations related to residential schools and, locating graves and, informing families about the bodies, and there's also actually clauses in there about the importance of educating professionals, including public servants and lawyers and social workers and educators. And so I think it's about, absolutely integrating education into our curriculum for children, but also ensuring that the teachers of future teachers are also ensuring that they also learn the details and to be able to pass that on.
Your committee focuses on the calls to action from that 2015 Truth and Reconciliation Commission. That's 6 years ago. So Why is it taking so long for instance, calls to action number 71 to 76 to be acted upon?
There have been people fighting for a very long time to have greater recognition. And there have been moments, clearly. I mean, there was the creation of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in itself. But tragically, maybe it takes this kind of extremely stark things like this very moment to prod people into action who might not have noticed before or thought about it before. I mean, even, the fact that new Canadians coming to Canada haven't been educated about this history until now, means that a lot of people in Canada not only haven't learned through the school system, but also haven't learned when they come here about this history.
It's interesting when you put it into that perspective, because people who are coming from other countries are coming here because they know Canada is a very welcoming place that will allow them to live their own culture in our country. But yet here is a shining example of a culture that is natural to Canada, to our country, being oppressed.
The rhetoric of Canada, is so welcoming and inclusive and understanding, and our history, which is, it's premised on colonialism, and it's premised on attempts to eradicate an entire series of Indigenous cultures. And the thing also that I think we have to really pay attention to is that, this isn't all just in the past. And this is something in child and youth studies we have to be really attentive to, and that's partly the issue of intergenerational trauma, right? That, these things that happen in residential schools have effects on people when they're older and they're trying to parent, and then those have effects on their children. And so, we need to be aware of how this then plays out in things like our foster care system. And we also have to be aware that there's things happening right now that are still unjust. in terms of, access to equitable education and healthcare, for example. So there's lots and lots of work to do.